His name's Sam. She pulled Sam in all tight like a jacket potato.
Maybe he'd be happier in a bazaar depository for unfinished kids on the outskirts of town,
said Sam's dad, who was tugging on a fag out the window, just below the no smoking sign. Sam's dad was a man who found it hard to love people because his parents were a bit aloof and self-involved. We should be empathetic. That means try to understand and not judge him. But I feel so bad for little newborn Sam that I think I'm just going to cut the swine right out the story. There. We'll never see him again. Luckily, Sam had his mum, and she more than made up for having one leg a bit thinner than other people's legs and even thinner than his own other leg. Sam, you are perfect as you are, a perfect expression of the love I feel for you. I wouldn't change any aspect of you because I wouldn't want to tinker with perfection. Which was a nice thing to say and gave Sam a lot of comfort and peace inside, which he needed because whenever he went outdoors, all the other kids in Hamelin were total jerks to him. When he was small and learning to walk, he'd hobble along on crutches, trying his best to join in with the turd-kicking puke buckets of the town, but they'd always holler the vilest abuse at the lad.
Bug off, Sam, you twig-legged oddball.
Yeah, go limp off into a ditch.
You are a nobody, and you'll never amount to nothing.
Whilst this hurt Sam in his little tummy, he'd never show it. He'd fib and say, "Sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me." That actually encouraged some kids who took stuff too literally to throw stones at him. I'll have to think of a better comeback, thought Sam, rubbing the bump on his head. By far and away, the worst of the booger-scoffing, stone-throwing Hamelin top-rotters was Fat Bob. He was a rotund sphere of chocolate-coated self-regard, probably because he had won the most gorgeous child pageants, not to mention a series of less important but still prestigious contests. Loudest burp for 3 years running, wettest fart, district finalist, and the Hamelin beige rosette for slickest poop. This last gave him such pride that he wore it emblazoned on his chest most mornings, and once, on half-term, when emotions ran high for Fat Bob, he was so eager to get the thing on, he pierced his own rubbery nipple with the pin. He usually wore a sailor suit, like Donald Duck's one, but with underpants on. He had one gold tooth, very scabby knees, and his cheekaboos were so rosy and plump that if I thought I could get away with it, I would prick 'em with a fork. Fat Bob, like a lot of bully boys, ran with a gang. That way, he didn't have to face up to his own feelings or the quiet sobbing in the corner of his mind. He could live in the colourful din of the day, creating a racket with his crew, scorching the elegant beauty of the moment with chants and marches. Gretchen, who was usually in his orbit, adored Fat Bob. The cheeks, the rosette, the blooming circle of blood around his right nipple, all seemed to her like the marks of a good sort. Now, Gretchen is what you'd call gorgeous. Tall like a tower in Castilla, with a donkey being shoved off it. They do that, you know. Dark blue eyes like the deepest oceans where people dump their rubbish. This also happens. And her hair, a tangled meadow of gold that had no obvious connotations of cruelty or irresponsibility. I have to admit, she had great hair. Dennis hung around Fat Bob too. Dennis was so unremarkable that he pretended to be whatever was required of him in any given moment. So just however you imagine him, that's probably right. Today was a special day for the townspeople, the most important day of their year. It was finally, after 364 of the most boring days imaginable, time for the most gorgeous child in Hamelin pageant. In Hamelin, they don't have Jesus or Buddha or Muhammad, so there was no Christmas or any of that. They pretended to worship a goat called Ezra, who jumped off the sun and created all the galaxies by sicking up chocolate milk and spinning it into planets. It's a daft belief system, but the Hamelinians didn't mind because they only paid attention to the bits that suited them. On Ezramas Day, the town